The first part of Henry IV. With the life and death of Henry, surnamed Hotspur, Actus Primus, Scona Prima. Enter the King, Lord Ione of Lancaster, Earl of Westmoreland with others. King, so shaken as we are, so on with care. Find we a time for frighted peace to pant. And breath short-winded accents of new broils. To be comic, 500 in strons a far remote. No more the thirsty entrance of this soil shall dope her lips with her own children's blood. No more shall trenching war channel her fields, nor bruise her florets with the armed hoofs of hostile paces, those opposed eyes, which like the meteors of a troubled Hoen, all of one nature, of one substance bred. 999, lately meet in the intestine shock, and furious close of seawall butchery, shall now in mutual well-beseeming ranks march all one way, and be no more oppose 500. Against acquaintance, kindred and allies. The edge of war, like a 99 sheathed knife, no more shall cut his master, therefore friends, as far as to the sepulchre of Christ, whose soldier now viender whose blessed cross. We are impressed, and in gag 500 to fight. Forthwith the power of English shall we Louis, whose arms were molded in their mother's womb, to chase these pagans in those holy fields, our whose acres walk 500 those blessed feet, which 1400 years ago were nail 500. For our advantage on the bitter cross. But this our purpose is a 12-month old, and bootless 'tis to tell you we will go. Therefore we meet not now, then let me hear of you, my gentle cousin Westmoreland, what yesternight our council, 999 decree, in forwarding this dear expedience. West, my liege, this haste was hot in question, and many limits of the charge set down. But yesternight, when all athwart there came a post from Wales, loaden with hoey news, whose worst was, that the noble Mortimer, leading the men of Herefordshire to fight against the irregular and wild Glendower, was by the rude hands of that Welshman taken, and 1,000 of his people butchered. Vipon whose dead corpse there was such misuse, such beastly, shameless transformation, by those Welshmen done, as may not be, without much shame, retold or spoken of. King, it seems then, that the tidings of this broil break off our business for the Holy Land. West, this match with other like, my gracious lord, far more genuine and bien welcome news, came from the north, and thus at 999 report. On Holyrood Day, the gallant Hotspur there, young Harry Percy and Bra Archibald, that you are valiant and a prewed Scot, at Homedon met, where they 999 spend a sad and bloody hour, as by discharge of their artillery, and shape of likelihood the news was told. For he that brought them, in the very heat and pride of their contention, 999 take horse, be uncertain of the issue anyway. King, here is a dear and true industrious friend. Sir Walter Blunt, new lighted from his horse, strain 500, with the variation of each soil, betwixt that Homedon and this seat of ours. And he hath brought V's smooth and welcome news. The Earl of Douglas is discomfited. 10,000 bold Scots, 22 knights, bulk 500, in their own blood 999 Sir Walter C. On Homedon's plains, of prisoners Hotspur took Mordic Earl of Fife and eldest son, to beaten Douglas and the Earl of Athol, of Murray, Angus and Menteith. And is not this an honourable spoil? A gallant prize, Hawcassin is it not? In faith it is. West, a conquest for a prince to boast of. King, yea there thou maxed me sad, and maxed me sin. In an eye, that my lord Northumberland should be the father of so blessed a son. A son, who is the theme of honour's tongue. Amongst ye a grow, the very straightest plant, who is sweet fortune's minion, and her pride. Whilst I by looking on the praise of him, see riot and dishonour stain the brow Of my young Harry, oh that it could be proof 500. That some night-tripping fairy had exchanged 500. In cradle clothes, our children where they lay. And call 500 mine Percy, his Plantagenet. Then would I haw his Harry, and he mine. But let him from my thoughts, what think you coes? Of this young Percy's pride, the prisoners, which he in this adventure hath surprised 500. To his own VSC he keeps, and sends me word. I shall ha none but Mordick Earl of Fife. West, this is his VNC class teaching, this is Worcester. Malolent to you in all aspects. Which makes him prune himself, and bristle VP. The crest of youth against your dignity. King, but I ha sent for him to answer this. And for this cause, while we must neglect our holy purpose to Jerusalem. Caution, on Wednesday next, our council we will hold at Windsor, and so inform the lords. But come yourself with speed to versus again. For more is to be said, and to be done. Then out of anger can be VT turd. West, I will my liege. Exeunt. Scena secunda. Enter Henry Prince of Wales, Sir Ione Falstaff, and points. Foul, now Hal, what time of day is it, lad? Prince, thou art so fat-witted with drinking of oldie sake, and VN buttoning the after-supper, and sleeping vpon benches in the afternoon, that thou hast forgotten to demand that truly, which thou wouldest truly know. What a deal hast thou to do with the time of the day? VN less hours were cups of sake, and minutes capons, and clocks the tongues of bawds, and dials the signs of leaping houses, and the blessed sun himself a fair hot wench in flame-colored taffeta. I see no reason why thou shouldest be so superfluous to demand the time of the day. Foul, indeed you come near me now, Hal, for we that take purses go by the moon and sewen stars, and not by Phoebus he, that wandering night so fair. And I prithee, sweet wag, when thou art king, as God saw thy grace, mayest I should say, for grace thou wilt ha none. Prin, what none? Foul, no, not so much as will Saru to be prologue to an egg and butters. Prin, well, how then, come roundly, roundly. Foul, marry then, sweet wag, when thou art king, let not verses that are squires of the night's bodie be call 500 thieves of the day's beauty. Let these be Diana's foresters, gentlemen of the shade, minions of the moon, and let men say we be men of good government, being governed as the sea by our noble and chaste mistress the moon, viender whose countenance we steal. Prin, thou say'st ye well, and it holds well too. For the fortune of these that are the moon's men doeth ebb and flow like the sea, being governed as the sea is by the moon. As for proof, now a purse of gold most resolutely snatched 500 on Monday night, and most dissolutely spent on Tuesday morning, got with swearing lay by, and spent with crying bring in. Now in as low an ebb as the foot of the ladder, and by in as high a flow as the ridge of the gallows. Foul, thou say'st ye true, lad, and is not my hostess of the towern a most sweet wench? Prin, as is the honey my old lad of the castle, and is not a buff Irkin a most sweet robe of durance. Foul, how now, mad wag, what in thy quips and thy quiddities, what a plague haw I to do with a buff Irkin? Prin, why what a pox haw I to do with my hostess of the towern? Foul, well, thou hast called 500 her to a reckoning many a time and oft. Prin, 999, I your call for thee to pay thy part. Foul, no, I'll due thee thy due, thou hast paid all there. Prin, yea, and elsewhere, so far as my coin would stretch, and where it would not, I haw these 500 my credit. Foul, yea, and so these 500 it, that were it here apparent, that thou art heir apparent. But I prithee, sweet wag, shall there be gallows standing in England when thou art king? And resolution thus fob 500 as it is, with the rusty curb of old Father Antiquae the law, do not thou when thou art a king hang a thief. Prin, no, thou shalt. Foul, shall I, oh rare, I'll be a bra ea. Prin, thou ea just false already. I mean, thou shalt ha the hanging of the thieves, and so become a rare hangman. Foul, well, Hal, well, and in some sort it eumps with my humor, as well as waiting in the court, I can tell you. Prin, for obtaining of sweets. Foul, yea, for obtaining of sweets, whereof the hangman hath no lean wardrobe, I am as melancholy as a gibcat or a lug 500. Prin, or an old lion or a lower's lute. Foul, yea, or the drone of a Lincolnshire bagpipe. Prin, what say'st thou to a hare, or the melancholy of moor ditch? Fal, thou hast the most sorry smiles, and art indeed the most comparadiu rascalist sweet young prince. But hell, I prithee trouble me no more with vanity. I wold thou and I knew where a commodity of good names were to be bought. An oldie lord of the council rated me the other day in the street about you, sir. But I mark 500 him not, and yet he talk 500 very wisely, but I regarded him not, and yet he talked wisely, and in the street too. Prin, thou didst well, for no man regards it. Fal, oh, thou hast damnable iteration, and art indeed able to corrupt a saint. Thou hast done much harm viento me hall, God forge you thee for it. Before I knew thee hal, I knew nothing, and now I am, if a man should speak truly, little better than one of the wicked. I must gee you hour this life, and I will gee you at hour. And I do not, I am a villain. I'll be damn 500 for newer a king's son in Christendom. Prin, where shall we take a purse tomorrow, Ayaki? Fal, where thou wilt, lad, I'll make one, and I do. Not call me villain, and baffle me. Prin, I see a good amendment of life in thee, from praying to purse-taking. Fal, why hal, 'tis my vocation hal, 'tis no sin. Man to labor in his vocation. Points, now shall we know if Gad's hill ha said a. Watch, oh, if men were to be sawed by merit, what hole in hell were hot enough for him. This is the most omnipotent villain that your cried stand to a true man. Prin, good morrow, Ned. Poins, good morrow, sweet Hal. What says Monsieur Remorse? What says Sir Ion Saki and Sugar, Ayaki? How agrees the deal and the about thy soul that thou soldest him on Good Friday last for a cup of Madeira and a cold capon's leg? Prin, Sir Ion stands to his word, the deal shall ha his bargain, for he was newer yet a breaker of proverbs. He will gee you the deal his due. Poin, then art thou damn 500 for keeping thy word with the deal. Prin, Elsie had damn 500 cozening the deal. Poi, but my lads, tomorrow morning by 4 o'clock early at Gad's Hill, there are pilgrims going to Canterbury with rich offerings and traders riding to London with fat purses. I ha vizards for you all, you ha horses for your sellus. Gad's Hill lies tonight in Rochester, I ha bespoke supper tomorrow in Eastcheap. We may do it as secure as sleep. If you will go, I will stuff your purses full of crowns. If you will not, tarry at home and be hanged 500. Foul, hear ye Edward, if I tarry at home and go not. I'll hang you for going. Poi, you will chops. Fowls, Hal, wilt thou make one? Prin, who I rob, I a thief, not I. Foul, there's neither honesty, manhood, nor good fellowship in thee, nor thou cam'st not of the blood royal, if thou darst not stand for 10 shillings. Prin, well then, once in my days I'll be a madcap. Foul, why that's well said. Prin, well come what will, I'll tarry at home. Foul, I'll be a traitor then, when thou art king. Prin, I care not. Poin, Sir Ion, I prithee lo the prince and me alone, I will lay him down such reasons for this adunture, that he shall go. Foul, well mayest thou ha the spirit of persuasion, and he the ears of profiting that what thou speakest may moo, and what he hears may be believed, that the true prince may for recreation's sake prow a false thief, for the poor abuses of the time want countenance. Farewell, you shall find me in Eastcheap. Prin, farewell the latter spring, farewell Ulhallown. Summer. Poi, now my good sweet honey lord, ride with verses tomorrow. I ha east to execute that I cannot manage alone. Falstaff, Harui, Rossel, and Gadshill shall rob those men that we ha already waylaid, yourself and I will not be there. And when they ha the booty, if you and I do not rob them, cut this head from my shoulders. Prin, but how shall we part with them in setting forth? Poin. Why, we will set forth before or after them, and appoint them a place of meeting, wherein it is at our pleasure to fail. And then will they adunture vp pon the exploit themselves, which they shall ha no sooner achieved, but we 50 set vpon them. Prin, I but tease like that they will know v's by our horses, by our habits, and by Uri other appointment to be our sellus. Poi, tut our horses they shall not see, I'll tie them in the wood, our vizards we will change after we low them. And Sirrah, I ha cases of buckram for the nonce, to amask our noted outward garments. Prin, but I doubt they will be too hard for versus. Poin, well for 2 of them I know them to be as true-bred cowards as you are turned 500 baccy, and for the third if he fight longer than he sees reason, I'll forswear arms. The virtue of this East will be the incomprehensible lies that this fat rogue will tell V's when we meet at supper. How 30 at least he fought with, what wards, what blows, what extremities he endured, and in the reproof of this lies the East. Prin, well, I'll go with thee, pruide versus all things necessary, and meet me tomorrow night in Eastcheap, there I'll sup. Farewell. Poin, farewell, my lord. Exit points. Prin, I know you all and will a while fold. The vinaioc 500 humor of your idleness. Yet herein will I imitate the sun. Who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother VP his beauty from the world? That when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at. By breaking through the foul and vigli mists of vapors, that 999 seem to strangle him. If all the year were playing holidays, to sport would be as tedious as to work. But when they seldom come, they wished for come. And nothing pleaseth but rare accidents. So when this loose behoyer I throw off, and pay the debt I newer promised, by how much better than my word I am, by so much shall I falsify men's hopes. And like bright metal on a sullen ground, my reformation glittering array my fault, shall show more goodly, and attract more eyes, than that which hath no foil to set it off. I'll so offend, to make offence a skill, redeeming time, when men think least I will. Scona tertia. Enter the king, Northumberland, Worcester, Hotspur, Sir Walter Blunt, and others. King, my blood hath been too cold and temperate. Venapt to stir at these indignities. And you ha found me, for accordingly, you tread vpon my patience, but be sure, I will from henceforth rather be myself, mighty and to be fear 500, than my condition, which hath been smooth as oil, soft as young down, and therefore lost that title of respect, which the proud soul ne'er pays, but to the proud. Were our house my sour rainy liege little deserves, the scourge of greatness to be set on it, and that same greatness too, which our own hands ha helped to make so portly. Nor my lord, King Worcester, get thee gone, for I do see danger and disobedience in thine eye. O sir, your presence is too bold and peremptory, and majesty might newer yet endure the moody frontier of a serwent brow. You ha good low to low versus when we need your VSC and counsel, we shall send for you. You were about to speak. North, yea, my good lord. Those prisoners in your highness demanded, which Harry Percy here at home done took, were, as he says, not with such strength denied, as was delivered to your majesty, who either through an eye or misprision was guilty of this fault, and not my son. Hot, my liege, I 999 deny no prisoners. But I remember when the fight was done, when I was dry with rage and extreme toil, breathless and faint, leaning vpon my sword, came there a certain lord, neat and trimly dressed, fresh as a bridegroom, and his chin new reaped. Show 500, like a stubble land at Harust home. He was perfumed like a milliner, and twixt his finger and his thumb he held a pouncet box, which ewer and anon he gaw his nose, and tooked away again. Who therewith angry, when it next came there, took it in snuff, and still he smill 500 and talk 500. And as the soldiers bear dead bodies by, he call 500 them vien taught naws, vien mannerly, to bring a slownly vien handsome course, betwixt the wind and his nobility. With many holiday and lady term, he questioned 500 me, among the rest demanded my prisoners, in your majesty's behalf. I then, all smarting, with my wounds being cold, to be so pestered with a popingaye, out of my grief and my impatience, answer 500, neglectingly, I know not what he should or should not, for he made me mad, to see him shine so brisk, and smell so sweet, and talk so like a waiting gentlewoman. Of guns and drums and wounds, God saw the mark. and telling me the sour-rainest thing on earth was parmacity for an inward bruise, and that it was great pity, so it was, that villainous saltpeter should be dig 500 out of the bowels of the harmless earth, which many a good tall fellow had destroy 500. So cowardly, and but for these vile guns, he would himself ha been a soldier. This bald, venointed chat of his, my lord, made me to answer indirectly, as I said, and I beseech you, let not this report come current for an accusation betwixt my low and your high majesty. Blunt, the circumstance considered, good my lord, what your Harry Percy then had said to such a person, and in such a place, at such a time, with all the rest retold, may reasonably die, and new arise to do him wrong, or any way impeach. What then he said, so he vien say it now. King, why yet doth deny his prisoners? But with proviso and exception, that we at our own charge shall ransom straight his brother-in-law, the foolish Mortimer, who in my soul hath wilfully betrayed the leaves of those that he 999 lead to fight against the great magician, damn 500 Glendower, whose daughter, as we hear the Earl of March, hath lately married. Shall our coffers then be emptied to redeem a traitor home? Shall we buy treason, and indent with fears, when they ha lost and forfeited themselves? No, on the barren mountain let him starew. For I shall newer hold that man my friend, whose tongue shall ask me for 1 penny cost to ransom home rulted Mortimer. Hot rulted Mortimer. He newer 999 fall off, my sour rainy liege. But by the chance of war, to prow that true, needs no more but 1 tongue, for all those wounds, those mouthed wounds, which valiantly he took, when on the gentle Suren's siege bank, in single opposition hand to hand, he 999, confound the best part of an hour, in changing hardiment, with great Glendower. 3 times they breath 500, and 3 times 999 they drink. Vipon agreement of swift Suren's flood, who then affrighted with their bloody looks, ran fearfully among the trembling reeds, and hid his crisp head in the hollow bank, blood-stained with these valiant combatants. Newer 999 base, and rotten policy, color her working with such deadly wounds. Nor newer could the noble Mortimer receive so many, and all willingly. Then let him not be slandered with ruled. King, thou dost belie him. Percy, thou dost belie him. He newers 999 encounter with Glendower. I tell thee, he durst as well ha met the deal alone as Owen Glendower for an enemy. Art thou not a sham 500, but Sirrah henceforth? Let me not hear you speak of Mortimer. Send me your prisoners with the speediest means, or you shall hear in such a kind from me as will displease ye, my Lord Northumberland. We license your departure with your son. Send versus your prisoners, or you 50 hear of it. Exit King. Hot, and if the deal come and roar for them, I will not send them, I will after straight, and tell him so, for I will ease my heart, although it be with hazard of my head. Nor what, drunk with choler, stay and pause a while. Here comes your VNC Clay. Enter Worcester. Hot, speak of Mortimer. Yes, I will speak of him, and let my soul want mercy, if I do not ine with him. In his behalf, I'll empty all these veins, and shed my dear blood drop by drop i'th dust. But I will lift the downfall Mortimer as high i'th air, as this Vien thankful king, as this ingrate and cancred Bolingbroke. Nor, brother, the king hath made your nephew mad. Were, who strook this heat VP after I was gone. Hot, he will forsooth ha all my prisoners. And when I vrg 500 the ransom once again of my wee's brother, then his cheek look 500 pale, and on my face he turned 500 an eye of death. Trembling Ewan at the name of Mortimer. Were, I cannot blame him, was he not proclaimed 500? By Richard that dead is, the next of blood. Nor he was, I heard the proclamation. And then it was, when the Vienne happy king, whose wrongs in versus God pardon, 999 set forth, vpon his Irish expedition, from whence he intercepted, 999 return, to be deposed 500, and shortly murthered, were, and for whose death, we in the world's wide mouth, liu scandal is 500, and fully spoken of. Hot but soft I pray you, 999 King Richard then. Proclaim my brother Mortimer heir to the crown. Nor, he 999, myself 999 hear it. Hot, nay then I cannot blame his cousin king, that wish 500 him, on the barren mountains starrood. But shall it be, that you that set the crown vpon the head of this forgetful man, and for his sake, wore the detested blot of murtherous subornation, shall it be, that you a world of curses viendurgo, being the agents, or base second means, the cords, the ladder, or the hangman rather. O pardon, if that I descend so low, to show the line, and the predicament, wherein you range viendur the subtle king. Shall it for shame, be spoken in these days, or fill VP chronicles in time to come, that men of your nobility and power, 999, gauge them both in enveniest behalf, as both of you, God pardon it, ha done, to put down Richard, that sweet lowly rose, and plant this thorn, this canker Bolingbroke. And shall it in more shame be further spoken, that you are fool 500, discarded and shook off, by him, for whom these shames ye vien derwent. No, yet time serus, wherein you may redeem your banish 500 honors, and restore your selus into the good thoughts of the world again. Ruinge the jeering and disdain 500 contempt of this proud king, who studies day and night to answer all the debt he owes vientou. Ewan with the bloody payment of your deaths. Therefore I say, were peace cousin, say no more. And now I will bien clasp a secret book, and to your quick consiuing discontents, I'll read you matter, deep and dangerous, as full of peril and adventurous spirit, as to a rewalk a current, roaring loud, on the Vienne steadfast footing of a spear. Hot if he fall in, good night or sink or swim. Send danger from the east viento the west. So honor cross it from the north to south. And let them grapple, the blood more stirs. To rose a lion, then to start. Nor, imagination of some great exploit, drews him beyond the bounds of patience. Hot by Hohen, methinks it were an easy leap, to pluck bright honor from the pale fac 500 moon, or dew into the bottom of the deep, where Fadomline could newer touch the ground, and pluck VP drowned honor by the locks. So he that doth redeem her thence might wear, without co-reual, all her dignities, but out vpon this half-fac 500 fellowship. Were, he apprehends a world of figures here, but not the form of what he should attend. Good cousin Giu me audience for a while, and list to me. Hot, I cry you mercy. Were those same noble Scots that are your prisoners? Hot, I'll keep them all. By Hohen, he shall not ha a Scot of them. No, if a Scot would saw his soul, he shall not. I'll keep them by this hand. Were, you start away, and lend no ear viento my purposes. Those prisoners you shall keep. Hot, nay I will, that's flat. He said, he would not ransom Mortimer. Forbade my tongue to speak of Mortimer. But I will find him when he lies asleep, and in his ear I'll holla Mortimer. Nay, I'll ha starling shall be taught to speak nothing but Mortimer, and Giu at him, to keep his anger still in motion. Were, hear you cousin, a word. Hot, all studies here I solemnly defy. Saw how to gall and pinch this Bolingbroke, and that same sword and buckler Prince of Wales, but that I think his father lows him not. and would be glad he met with some mischance. I would ha poison 500 him with a pot of ale. Were farewell kinsman, I'll talk to you. When you are better temper 500 to attend. Nor, why would a wasp-tungu 500, an impatient fool? Art thou, to break into this woman's mood? Tying thine ear to no tongue but thine own. Hot, why look you, I am whipped and scoured 500 with rods. Nettled and stung with pismires when I hear of this vile politician Bolingbroke. In Richard's time, what day I call the place? A plague vipont, it is in Gloucestershire. 'Twas, where the madcap Duke his viencly kept. His viencly York, where I first bow 500 my knee. Viento this king of smiles, this Bolingbroke. When you and he came backy from Ronsburg. Nor at Berkeley Castle. Hot, you say true. Why would a coddy deal of courtesy? This fawning greyhound then 999 proffer me. Look when his infant fortune came to age. And gentle Harry Percy, and kind cousin. Oh, the de'll take such cozeners, God forge you me. Good viencly tell your tale, for I ha done. Wers nay if you ha not, toot again. We 50 stay your leisure. Hot I ha done in sooth. Were, then once more to your Scottish prisoners. Deliver them, VP, without their ransom straight. And make the Douglas son your only mean. For powers in Scotland, which for Dewars reasons, which I shall send you written, be a sure 500. Will easily be granted you, my lord. Your son in Scotland, being thus employ 500, shall secretly into the bosom creep of that same noble prelate, well below 500. The Archbishop Hot of York is't not. Were true who bears hard his brother's death at Bristow, the Lord Scroop. I speak not this in estimation, as what I think might be, but what I know is ruminated, plotted, and set down, and onely stays but to behold the face of that occasion that shall bring it on. Hot, I smell it. Vipon my life, it will do wondrous well. Nor, before the game's afoot, thou still let'st ye slip. Hot, why it cannot choose but be a noble plot. And then the power of Scotland, and of York. To iron with Mortimer, ha. Were, and so they shall. Hot, in faith it is exceedingly well I'm 500. Were, and 'tis no little reason bids versus speed. To saw our heads, by raising of a head. For bear our cellos as ewen as we can. The king will always think him in our debt. And we think our cellos vien satisfied. Till he hath found a time to pay verses home. And see already how he doth begin to make verses strangers to his looks of low. Hot, he does, we 50 be ruing 500 on him. Were cousin farewell, no further go in this. Then I by letters shall direct your course. When time is ripe, which will be sedanely, I'll steal to Glendower, and lo, Mortimer. Where you and Douglas and our powers at once, as I will fashion it, shall happily meet. To bear our fortunes in our own strong arms, which now we hold at much vien certainty. Nor, farewell good brother, we shall three you I trust. Hot viencly adieu, oh let the hours be short. Till fields and blows and groans applaud our sport. Exit. Actus secundus, scena prima. Enter a carrier with a lantern in his handcar. Hey-ho, an't be not for by the day, I'll be hanged. Charles Wayne is our the new chimney, and yet our horse not packed, wood ostler. Ost, anon. One car, I prithee Tom beat cut saddle put a few flocks in the point, the poor eyade is wrung in the withers. Out of all cess. Enter another carrier. Two car, peas and beans are as dank here as a dog, and this is the next way to Gu poor eyades the bots. This house is turned V-side down since Robin the ostler die car. Poor fellow newer I 500 since the price of oats. Rose, it was the death of H. Car. I think this is the most villainous house in Al. London road for fleas, I am stung like a tench. One car, like a tench. There is near a king in Christendom could be better bit than I ha been since the first cock. 2 car, why you will allow versus near a your den, and then we leak in your chimney, and your chamberlain breeds fleas like a loach. 1 car, what ostler come away and be hanged, come away. 2 car, I ha a gammon of bacon and 2 raises of ginger, to be de leeward as far as Charing Cross. 1 car, the turkeys in my pannier are quite starrood. What ostler, a plague on thee, hast thou newer an eye in thy head, canst he not hear, and we're not as good a deed as drink to break the pate of thee, I am a very villain. Come and be hanged 500, hast no faith in thee. Enter Gadshill. Gad, good morrow carriers, what's o'clock? Car, I think it be 2 o'clock. Gad, I prithee lend me thy lanthorn to see my gelding. In the stable. 1 car, nay soft I pray ye, I know a trick worth 2 of that. Gad, I prithee lend me thine. 2 car, I when canst tell. Lend me thy lanthorn, quoth they, marry I'll see thee hang 500 first. Gad, sir a carrier, what time do you mean to come to London? 2 car, time enough to go to bed with a candle, I warrant thee. Come neighbour Mugges, we 100 call VP the gentlemen, they will along with company, for they ha great charge. Exeunt. Enter Chamberlain. Gad, what ho Chamberlain? Cam, at hand, quoth Pickpurse. Gad, that's Ewan as fair as at hand, quoth the Chamberlain, for thou variest no more from picking of purses, than geoing direction doth from labouring. Thou layest ye the plot, how? Cam, good morrow Master Gadshill, it holds current that I told you yesternight. There's a Franklin in the Wild of Kent, hath brought 300 marks with him in gold. I heard him tell it to one of his company last night at supper, a kind of auditor, one that hath abundance of charge too, God knows what they are VP already, and call for eggs and butter. They will away presently. Gad, sirrah, if they meet not with S. Nicholas Clark's. I'll gee thee this neck. Cam, no, I'll none of it. I prithee keep that for the hangman, for I know thou worshipst S. Nicholas as truly as a man of falsehood may. Gad, what talkest thou to me of the hangman? If I hang, I'll make a fat payer of gallows. For if I hang, old Sir Ion hangs with me, and thou know'st he's no star-rolling. Tut, there are other Trojans that why dream'st ye not of, the which for sport's sake, are content to doe the profession some grace. That would, if matters should be look 500 into for their own credit's sake, make all whole. I am oined with no foot-landrakers, no long-staff sixpenny strikers, none of these mad mustachio purple who 500 maltworms, but with nobility and tranquillity. Burgomasters and great one-ears, such as can hold in, such as will strike sooner, then speak, and speak sooner than drink, and drink sooner than pray. And yet I lie, for they pray continually vnto their saint the Commonwealth, or rather, not to pray to her but pray on her. For they ride VP and down on her, and make here their boots. Cam, what the Commonwealth their boots? Will she hold out water in foul way? Gad, she will, Eustis hath liquor 500 her. We steal as in a castle, cocksure, we ha the receipt of fernseed, we walk inusable. Cam, nay I think rather, you are more beholding to the night than to the fernseed, for your walking inusable. Gad, gew me thy hand. Thou shalt ha a share in our purpose. As I am a true man. Cam, nay rather let me ha it, as you are false. A thief. Gad, go to, homo is a common name to all men. Bid the ostler bring the gelding out of the stable. Farewell, ye muddy na. Exeunt. Scena secunda. Enter Prince, Poins and Peto. Poins, come shelter, I ha remoud Falstaff's horse, and he frets like a gum 500 velout. Prin, stand close. Enter Falstaff. Fal, Poins, and be hang 500 poins. Prin, PC fat kidney 500 rascal, what a brawling. Dost thou keep? Fal, what poins hal? Prin, he is walk 500 VP to the top of the hill, I'll go seek him. Fal, I am accursed to rob in that thief company. That rascal hath remoud my horse, and tied him I know not where. If I troil but 4 foot by the squire further afoot, I shall break my wind. Well, I doubt not but to die a fair death for all this, if I 'scape hanging for killing that rogue. I ha forsworn his company hourly any time this 2 and 20 year, and yet I am bewitched with the rogue's company. If the rascal ha not given me medicines to make me low him, I'll be hanged 500, it could not be else, I ha drunk medicines. Poins hal a plague vipon you both. Bardolph pedo, I'll staru ere I rob a foot further, and twere not as good a deed as to drink, to turn true man, and to loe these rogues, I am the veriest varlet that you are chewed with a tooth. 8 yards of venewen ground is 60 miles a foot with me, and the stony-hearted villains know it well enough. A plague vipont, when thieus cannot be true one to another. They whistle. Hew a plague light vipon you all, giu my horse you. Rogues, giu me my horse, and be hanged 500. Prin, piecey fat guts, lie down, lay thine ear close to the ground, and list if thou can hear the tread of troilers. Foul ha you any lowers to lift me VP again being down, I'll not bear mine own flesh so far a foot again for all the coin in thy father's exchequer. What a plague mean ye to colt me thus? Prin, thou liest, thou art not colted, thou art vieng colted. Foul, I prithee good Prince Hal, help me to my horse. Good King's son. Prin, out you rogue, shall I be your ostler? Foul, go hang thyself in thine own apparent garters. If I be ta'en, I'll peach for this, and I ha not. Ballads made on all and sung to filthy tunes, let a cup of Saki be my poison, when a east is so forward and afoot. 2 I hate it. Enter Gad's hill. Gad stand. Foul, so I do against my will. Poin, Otis our setter, I know his voice. Bardolph, what news, bar, case ye. On with your vizards, there's money of the king's coming down the hill, tease going to the king's exchequer. Foul you lie you rogue, tease going to the king's towern. Gad, there's enough to make fees all. Foul, to be hanged 500. Prin, you 4 shall front them in the narrow lane. Ned and I will walk lower. If they scape from your encounter, then they light on versus. Pedo, but how many be of them? Gad, some 8 or 10. Foul, will they not rob versus? Prin, what a coward Sir Ion Paunch. Foul, indeed I am not Ion of Gaunt your grandfather. But yet no coward Hal. Prin, we 50 low that to the proof. Poin, Sura Ayaki, thy horse stands behind the hedge, when thou needst him there thou shalt find him. Farewell and stand fast. Foul, now cannot I strike him, if I should be hanged 500. Prin, Ned, where are disguises? Poin, here hard by, stand close. Foul, now my masters, happy man be his dole say I, Uri man to his business. Enter Troilers. Tra, come neighbor, the boy shall lead our horses down the hill. We 50 walk afoot a while, and ease our legs. Theus, stay. Tra, isu bless vis. Foul, strike down with them, cut the villains' throats, a horse in caterpillars. Bacon-fed gnaws, they hate versus youth, down with them, fleece them. Tra, oh we are viendone, both we and ours for youer. Foul, hang ye gorbelid gnaws, are you viendone? Nody fat chuffs, I would your store were here. On bacons, on what ye gnaws. Young men must lee you are grand eras are ye. We 50 ear ye ifaith. Here they rob them and bind them. Enter the prince in poins. Prin, the thieus ha bound the true men. Now could thou and I rob the thieus and go merrily to London. It would be argument for a week, laughter for a moneth, and a good east for youer. Poins, stand close, I hear them coming. Enter thieus again. Foul, come my masters, let verses share, and then to horse before day. And the prince and poins be not 2 errant cowards, there's no equity stirring. There's no moe valor in that poins, than in a wilded duck. Prin, your money. Poin, villains. As they are sharing, the prince and poins set vipon them. They all run away, lowing the booty behind them. Prince got with much ease. Now merrily to horse. The thieus are scattered and possessed with fear so strongly that they dare not meet each other. Each takes his fellow for an officer. Away good Ned, Falstaff sweats to death and lards the lean earth as he walks along. Were't not for laughing, I should pity him. Poin, how the rogue roared. Exeunt. Scona tertia. Enter Hotspur solus, reading a letter. But for mine own part, my lord, I could be well contented to be there, in respect of the low I bear your house. He could be contented, why is he not then? In respect of the low he bears our house. He shows in this, he lows his own barn better than he lows our house. Let me see some more. the purpose you undertake is dangerous. Why, that's certain. 'Tis dangerous to take a cold, to sleep, to drink. But I tell you, my lord fool, out of this nettle danger, we pluck this flower safety. The purpose you undertake is dangerous, the friends you ha named certain, the time itself sordid, and your whole plot too light for the counterpoise of so great an opposition. Say you so, say you so. I say vnto you again, you are a shallow cowardly hind, and you lie. What a lack-a-brain is this? I protest, our plot is as good a plot as ewer was laid, our friend true and constant, a good plot, good friends, and full of expectation, an excellent plot, very good friends. What a frosty-spirited rogue is this? Why, my lord of York commends the plot, and the general course of the action. By this hand, if I were now by this rascal, I could brain him with his lady's fan. Is there not my father, my Viancley, and myself, Lord Edmund Mortimer, my lord of York, and Owen Glender? Is there not besides the Douglas? Ha I not all their letters to meet me in arms by the 9th of the next month? And are they not some of them set forward already? What a pagan rascal is this? An infidel. Ha, you shall see now, in very sincerity of fear and cold heart, will he to the king, and lay open all our proceedings. Oh, I could do-eyed myself and go to buffets, for mooing such a dish of skim 500 milk with so honorable an action. Hang him, let him tell the king we are prepared. I will set forwards tonight. Enter his lady. How now, Kate, I must loe you within these 2 hours. La, oh my good lord, why are you thus alone? For what offence ha I this fortnight been? A banished 500 woman from my Harry's bed. Tell me, sweet lord, what is't that takes from thee thy stomache pleasure and thy golden sleep? Why dost thou bend thine eyes upon the earth, and start so often when thou sitt'st alone? Why hast thou lost the fresh blood in thy cheeks? And genuine my treasures, and my rights of thee? To thick eye 500 musing, and cursed melancholy. In my faint slumbers, I by thee ha watched, and heard thee murmur tales of iron wars. Speak terms of manage to thy bounding steed. Cry courage to the field, and thou hast talk 500. Of sallies and retires, trenches, tents. Of palisados, frontiers, parapets. Of basilisks, of cannon, cullerin. Of prisoners' ransom, and of soldiers slain. And all the current of a heady fight. Thy spirit within thee hath been so at war, and thus hath so bestir 500 thee in thy sleep, that beds of sweat hath stood upon thy brow, like bubbles in a late disturbed stream. And in thy face, strange motions ha appear 500, such as we see when men restrain their breath. On some great sodding hast, oh what portents are these? Some hoary business hath my lord in hand, and I must know it, else he allows me not. Hot, what ho, is Gilliams with the packet gone? Sir, he is my lord and our agon. Hot, hath Butler brought those horses fro the sheriff? Sir, one horse, my lord, he brought you now. Hot, what horse? A roan a crop ear, is it not? Sir, it is my lord. Hot, that roan shall be my throne. Well, I will back him straight. Esperance, bid Butler lead him forth into the park. La, but hear you, my lord. Hot, what say'st thou, my lady? La, what is it carries you away? Hot, why my horse, my horse. La, out you mad-headed ape, a weasel hath not such a deal of spleen as you are tossed with. In sooth I'll know your business, Harry, that I will. I fear my brother Mortimer doth stir about his title, and hath sent for you to line his enterprise. But if you go hot, so far afoot, I shall be weary, Lau. La, come, you paraquito, answer me directly vnto this question that I shall ask. Indeed I'll break thy little finger, Harry, if thou wilt not tell me true. Hot, away, you trifler, Lau, I allow thee not. I care not for thee, Kate, this is no world to play with mammoths, and to tilt with lips. We must haw bloody noses, and crack 500 crowns, and pass them current too, God's me my horse. What say'st thou, Kate, what woldst thou ha with me? La, do ye not allow me, do ye not indeed? Well, do not then, for since you allow me not, I will not allow myself, do you not allow me? Nay, tell me if thou speak'st in east, or no. Hot, come, wilt thou see me ride? And when I am a horsebacky, I will swear. I allow thee infinitely, but hark you, Kate. I must not haw you henceforth, question me. Whether I go, nor reason whereabout. Whether I must, and to conclude. This yearning must I loathe thee, gentle Kate. I know you wise, but yet no further wise than Harry Percy's wife, constant you are. But yet a woman, and for secrecy. No lady closer, for I will belie you. Thou wilt not teach her what thou dost not know. And so far wilt I trust thee, gentle Kate. La how so far,